Salam and welcome. I'm so grateful that you're tuning into this video or podcast wherever you listen from. And before I dive into the topic, I want you to quickly just close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, don't do that. Just take a deep breath in and breathe out. I want you to imagine that your body is taking all the energy back, your energy back from the places, memories, moments that are in the past, and bring all of your attention, all of your energy back into your body, back into your field. And notice how much your body feels so safe and so relaxed and present right now. And I want you to take another deep breath in and breathe out. And slowly open your eyes and just listen to what I'm saying. There are 3 blocks that I see come up again and again in the women that I work with, and honestly in my own journey too. The 3 blocks that sit beneath the surface of everything, beneath the stalled business, the relationship that doesn't work out, the situationship, the prayers that feels like they're unheard and they're not going anywhere, the money that feels like it's coming and going but it never really staying in your life. And by the way, if you hear any noise, it's from the outside. Our housekeeper is actually cleaning the villa and gardening, so excuse the background noise. Now, I want you to really understand, by the end of this video, I want you to walk away with real clarity on what these blocks are, how they show up in your life, and what it really takes to clear them, not just intellectually or theoretically, but really understand them and genuinely shift them at the level where they live. Because these are not mindset problems, they're much deeper than that. So I'm going to get into them one by one. I call them the 3 core feminine blocks, which is fear, shame, and guilt. And before you think I already know this, stay with me, because most of us have heard these words but have never really felt into how specifically they are operating in our lives, in our nervous system, in our body, in our relationships, and how we show up to the world and in the decisions that we make every single day. Block number 1 is fear. Fear at its core is the anticipation of a threat, real or imagined. So our nervous system cannot tell what's real and what's imaginable, so it responds the same way. And there are different layers of fear that show up for women, particularly when it comes to our spirituality, religion, love, money, intimacy, and so on and so forth. One of them is the fear of failure. What if I try and it doesn't work? What if I put myself out there and I'm not good enough? Then there is the fear of success, and this one is more common than people admit. What if I do succeed? What changes? So consciously, whenever we think that we're afraid of success, we think that, oh my God, if I'm being seen or if I'm successful, people will expect things from me. I will have more responsibility. I don't know if I can handle it. Who am I becoming? Are people gonna leave? Will I be safe? That's the fear of success. And then we have the fear of being seen, of visibility, of taking up space, of being too much or not enough at the same time. And then there is a fear of abandonment, that am I fully myself? Will I be loved? If I'm going to be accepted? And then we have the fear of God, the not reverence, but the actual fear of the punishment, of the unconscious belief that you're not worthy of divine support and mercy, that you have to earn grace and work really hard and pray really hard, that somehow you're too broken or something is too wrong with you because you're a woman, and then God will grace you if you are doing certain things. What fear does, it fragments you, it contracts you, it narrows your world down to what feels safe, and it keeps you circling the same experiences over and over and wondering why nothing is changing. And so your nervous system responds as fight or flight. You're constantly looking for threats and you cannot really relax. And then you have freeze and shut down when your body feels like, okay, I'm frozen, I cannot move forward, I don't feel safe. And usually comes as procrastination, as feeling lazy, feeling depressed. And then the other one is like fawning, which is like you're people pleasing. You're just doing the bare minimum as long as it keeps everything at peace, right? So this is our fear block. Whew, that was heavy. Then we have block 2, shame. Shame is different from guilt, and the distinction is really important here, so stay with me. Where guilt says I did something wrong, shame says I am something wrong. It is a belief that was formed early in our life that there is something wrong, fundamentally defected about us as individuals. It's something that I need to hide, something that, if seen clearly or openly, would expose me and cause people to leave or cause people to abandon or judge me or even harm me. The type of shame that tend to run deepest for a woman is body shame, the belief that your body is wrong, too much, not enough, unworthy of desire or care. And then we have relational shame, which is the belief that your needs are too much, that wanting love or closeness make you needy or pathetic. And then we have spiritual shame, which is the feeling that you are too sinful, too impure, something is wrong with you, you need to hide, too worldly to be close to God, that your desires and your spirituality cannot coexist. And then we have financial shame, which is the shame around wanting money, around not having enough money, around past financial mistakes, and the belief that women who want wealth are greedy or selfish or gold digger. And then we have the pleasure shame. It's the conditioning that enjoyment, rest, receiving, being playful, being soft, are all indulgent, and that you have to earn the right to feel good or you have to earn the right to rest. Shame is perhaps the heaviest of all three because it operates in silence. It's rarely spoken outwardly, it's more felt and operated from. It just quietly convinces you that you don't deserve what you're calling in. Now, we have toxic shame and we have healthy shame. The healthy shame is like when you know that what you've done is wrong, then you admit that and you correct your behavior or your action. And that's a healthy shame. But if it's toxic, if you inherently believe there's something wrong with you and you're a bad person and you don't deserve it, you deserve to be punished, then that's toxic shame that we don't want to operate from, right? The core block number 3 is guilt. Guilt is the emotional weight that we carry around our actions, things that we've done, things that we didn't do, the choices we made, and ways we believe we've fallen short. For many women, especially those of us who grew up in a traditional, religious, or culturally conservative environment, guilt becomes chronic. It stops being a healthy signal and becomes a constant state of being. The type of guilt that most commonly block women are the ancestral guilt, a felt sense of responsibility for the suffering of those who came before us, a belief that thriving when others in our lineage are struggling is somehow a betrayal and selfish. The relational guilt, which is around prioritizing yourself, your needs, setting limits and boundaries, saying no to family sometimes, and choosing your own path over what was expected of you, brings a lot of guilt and a sense of you're doing something wrong. And then we have spiritual guilt, which is the guilt around your desires, your sexuality, your ambition, your body, any part of you that was told it was sinful or inappropriate. And then we have success guilt. It's the discomfort of outgrowing your environment, of wanting more than what the women around you were allowed themselves to have or want. And what guilt does here is that it keeps you small in the name of loyalty. It disguises itself as care, as it is often just a way that the nervous system has learned to manage the perceived threat of being different. It's the feeling of if I'm standing out or if I'm choosing myself, it's wrong, and therefore I'm selfish. Sometimes these blocks actually fit into each other. So if you have fear of success, then you shrink yourself and it fits into shame. And then when you shame, then it goes into the guilt that, oh my God, if I'm successful, if I'm following my own path, then it creates this vicious loop in your physical, in your auric field. Now I want to explain why these blocks disconnect you from God, love, and money. Now, what ties all of these three together is that they sit at the lowest level of the map of consciousness, which was developed by David Hawkins. It's a framework that measures the energetic frequency of different emotional states. And the lower the frequency you're living in, the further you feel away from expansion, from connection, from the things that you're genuinely being called toward. And frequency is simply an energy your entire system is emitting to the universe. It's not just your thoughts, your body, your nervous system, your subconscious pattern. It's a combination of everything and your identity that you're holding. And the thing is that you can do all the mindset work, all the journaling, do affirmations or a vision board or prayer and fast. But if your body and your identity are still sending a signal rooted in fear, shame, or guilt, the result won't match the effort, because the subconscious mind and our body hold the older, deeper programming, and they are louder than the conscious mind. So maybe you're wondering where all of these blocks are coming from. So most of us did not choose this block. They were handed to us or happened to us through cultural conditioning, through religious framework that taught us that our desires were dangerous, that being a woman is sinful, through family systems where being small was how you stayed safe and loved, through generations of women before us who had to suppress part of themselves to survive. When we were children, we absorbed all of this without filters. We took it as the truth, as the identity, as the rules of being a woman in our particular world and our culture that we came from. And then when we became adults, we're wondering, why am I self-sabotaging? Why we feel stuck even when we're doing all the right things? Why certain areas of life, love, money, and our relationship with God or Spirit feel like they're operating behind glass? You can see where you want to go, but it's just sometimes feel impossible to reach. This is not a personal failing. This is a programming that was never yours to begin with. So everything I told you or explained to you is in a level of awareness, and the awareness is the beginning of clearing. As I said, these blocks don't live in our minds. They live in the body. They live in our nervous system, in our subconscious mind. They live in the subconscious pattern that run beneath our conscious thoughts. They live in our DNA and our cellular level, which means the way to clear them has to meet them where they are. One of them is somatic work. It's practices that work directly with the body, and the sensational hell within it allows you to begin to release the physical imprint of fear, shame, and guilt that has been stored in your tissues, in your posture, in your breath, in your nervous system response, and your identity. And then we have other way of clearing is subconscious reprogramming. It's through hypnosis. It's going through the patterns in those low frequency vibration and emotional states. It's about going beneath the level of the thinking mind to update the older beliefs and stories that are running in the background of our minds. And then we have the integration part. It's the ongoing process of bringing these previously rejected part of ourselves back into wholeness. It's about all the fragmentation that we're experiencing in our identity and who we are into one coherent self. It's when taking a different action, an aligned action, becomes easier because your body is not operating from a state of survival or fear or shame or guilt, but from a place of coherence, from a place of neutrality, from a place of I can do this, I am connected to God directly, and you feel more at peace and at ease. So when your nervous system begins to regulate at a higher baseline, something really magical happens. All the manifestation stops being a technique and it becomes a natural byproduct of who you are becoming. You're no longer carrying the weight of an old version of yourself, but you're no longer broadcasting at a frequency that contradicts what you want. The deeper the challenges and experience and trauma that you hold in your body, the deeper and bigger capacity you have for love and for light and more miracles in your life. And the work is to gently, somatically, and with real compassion, let them go. And as you do, you will find that God, your spirituality, your connection to nature, love, money, relationships are not things that you have to chase, but it's something you have to allow. And at some point, there are some things that you have to choose from because of the abundance of options that comes your way. There are things that you become available to receive. I'm so grateful that you tuned in with me and stayed with me through this episode. This is the work that we're doing inside the Feminine Freedom. If you feel the call to book a call with me to audit your feminine energy and your alignment. And until next time, I will send you so much love.